Fine. So first thing, put base all over your face. You know.
What application is this?
Oh, thank you. You're so good. Old age. You should just be on time for your hair. So I guess I'm gonna kind of bounce back and forth between shadows, highlights, and then the dark shadows. So first I'll start mapping out main shadows. So you're gonna do shadows on the temple and then the cheek area back here to do the sunken look. If you want to do the cheek shadow out here that you did on the fat face, you can do that as an option as well. I'm gonna assume Haley would get sunken, saggy cheeks. So the shadow, you're gonna go right below the cheek line, and you can kind of curve it down a bit, since like all that I'm gonna do with highlights, so that way it's already curving the shadows down. And then the temple area, nose you're gonna highlight and shadow, just like basic corrective. I'm going to go down the sides of the nose, but I'm going to bring the shadow up right below her eyebrow. So like the inner side of the eye there, I'm going to bring the shadow up below her eyebrow. And then also with the regular shadow, I'm going to figure out where the sunken part of the eye is going to be for the eye bag. And so go in there, starting from the inside of the eye. I guess go ahead. And I'm going to curve it, just kind of follow it and curve it up towards the outside of her eye. And then the little divot right below the nose I'm going to shadow. And then the chin I'll shadow. Just kind of the little arc shape and then go upwards. And so with the old age, you can thin your lips out if you want to. So that's where the base would come into play, where you base the lips, and then how you have done on, I guess it would be skinny face what you did, but drawing in the smaller lips. So if you were doing that, then the shadow is going to go up to the new lip line. Then I'm gonna go with jowls because I don't see Haley getting a double chin. So, but we'll make some good jowls. So I'm gonna start, right by her ear, follow right below the jawline, come up and then back down to her chin. So like I said, this is one of your chin options. So you'll have that, and then there's double chin, and then the neck area. Okay, so the neck option, I guess, turn your head that way. So when you turn your head, you see how that pokes out there? So just get one on either side. So you're going to shadow on either side of that. And then, yes, now you can go forward, yeah. So then you can make this little guy pop out. I always forget what this is called. I always think of the smokers. Yeah. The hole, yeah. So you're gonna shadow in that.
Trachea. Can you put a smoker on?
If you want to.
So creepy.
Yeah, then you just have to talk like that for the rest of the class. Okay. I think I will stop right there and blend some. And for the lines around the muscle, like I'm trying not to like blend them out too much, but just kind of lifting a bit of the makeup up to make them not such obvious lines. Oh, next. Okay, now I'm gonna do some highlights, and then I'll go back to shadows. So for the highlights, on the temple area, and I'm gonna come just in between the shadows and the eyebrow, and then do little swoopy cheeks.
Did you do the wrinkles on the forehead?
No. I'm gonna use the darker shadow for that. So right now I'm using the larger brush and just kind of mapping out the main shadows and highlights, and then I'm gonna go back with the smaller brush and the darker shadow. So the cheek, top of the nose. Chin. Along your jawline. And then for the neck muscles, you're gonna go right in between the shadows. And then around on the ridge there.
So are this round of shadow and highlight is unblended stuff that has no other pigment added into it?
Yes.
Just regular character shadow and
Yeah.
sort of-
Yeah, so I mean it's the same when you mix like when you've mixed your highlights and bases or shadows. Like you get your base, disperse it out, do your shadow, do your highlight, do your... And so you need to mix quite a bit of base because you need to have enough for, your shadow, your darker shadow, and your highlight. So ideally, wherever you go with it, like that little tint of yellow or red should carry through all of them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, like I said, we can mix it right
Oh. I get that. Okay, make sure I didn't forget anything. So now I'm gonna blend the highlights and then go back and do some more. So now I'm gonna take the smaller brush and do the fine shadows and highlights. So now I'm moving on to the dark shadows. So the point of the dark shadows, because it's gonna help to sink in things even more. So I'm gonna put a little bit on the temples. And in the middle of the cheek shadow. And then on the inside of the eye there. So I'm gonna go down into the eye bag and then I'm gonna bring this, so it's gonna start up here in the inside and then scoop down as low as you can and kind of curve it up towards the eyebrow. So highlight's gonna go above that, and so the shadow's gonna help to show that that's supposed to be sinking. Can you smile for me? So with these, like I said, you want to use the top of your brush and make it as fine of a line as possible. So it's going to connect with the nose. And curve down. I'm gonna, actually, yeah, I'll use this. So on the corners of her mouth, I'm gonna put a shadow, kind of going, I guess, right from the corners of the mouth and just drooping it downwards. So then if you lift your eyes, then you can see where your forehead wrinkles are going to be. And if you have quite a few, you don't need to do all of them. Yeah, just get a few good ones in there. And then angry furrowed brows. And you'll get the lines in between your eyebrows popping up. So these ones should connect to the shadow that's on the side of your nose.
No, we only still have my stepmom. Growing up, I just never.
Okay.
So I never dated my dad. He's
This one. Okay, and then if you purse your lips, you get the wrinkles that pop up around there. So if you want, you can choose some of those. Smoker's yeah, smoker's wrinkles to go along with the smoker's hole. Nice. Okay. So now I'm going to blend the darker shadows in with the regular shadows. And so like the forehead lines, like I was talking about, like that line's fine. That one, do you see how I got like a little goopiness on that edge, a little too much? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna try and just lift some of that off of there, but I'm not necessarily going to blend those. And a big old blob. So now for the highlight. So the highlight is gonna go between the shadow and the eyebrow. And then between the eye and the shadow underneath the eye. Because that's gonna help to show that that skin is kind of popping out. And then on the sides of the eyebrow shadows, I'm just going to do thin little highlights. And then in between your forehead wrinkles, so if you lift up again, the parts that pop out, put highlights on that. So that I am going to blend in. Oh yes. And then on the, so if you shadowed the little divot below your nose, you're going to do highlights right along the ridges beside that.
Don't like that line. It's a mix
And then I'm going to go below your okay. And then blend those highlights in. Just being careful not to bump your shadow. I can do the one below first if you want. Okay, so in terms of highlights and shadows, that's it. Any questions? I feel good with that. So now onto the stipple sponge. So the hair color I want you to use on your eyebrows. If you want to, you can put it in your hair, but I'm not requiring that. But I do it on your eyebrows. So for the stipple, you're going to use the reddish one. So you're going to dab it in your paint and get any like excess or big blobs of makeup off of it. And then you're just going to lightly dab it around your face.
specific spots? Like,
I'm not, if you want to. I mean, a lot of times the cheeks, you know, get it. I'm just kind of doing it all over to break up the whole texture of her face. If you want to aim for specific spots, you can. You just need to be careful because if you tend to like overdo it in one spot, it just looks a little weird. So.
Are you frowning right now?
And I just swiped it. So that's what you want to avoid if you end up like
Her nose?
during. Exactly. No swiping. And then for the age spots, I'm just gonna get the highlight off of here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can do them as large or as small as you want, just little irregular shaped blotches.
Snow White.
Oh yes.
And the
Is
hair
that
color.
gray too? Does the
Yes. Not
Yes.
in your kids.
Yeah, in
but
the
it's
kits you get Snow White. It comes in like dark gray, light gray, white. Because, like, if you're actually doing old age, it's good to do a few different shades. Because if you look at someone whose hair is gone gray, it's not just like one flat shade of the same color.
Sometimes, most of like 97.
Not often. I mean, it's usually like anybody's natural hair. It tends to have varying highlights and colors. So yeah, so it has a little brush on it, so just brush it on.
It's like changing.
Can we do my eyebrows?
Mm-hmm. Yay, old Haley!
You look like it's just a smiley old woman.
That's good. And then I guess before the hair color, you know, powder. Like usual.
you turn her this way?
Okay.
Ah!